Tell everyone we're live and I will start. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samantha Byers, and I am the Adult Behavioral Health Director and have been acting as the interim Measure 110 Executive Director at OHA, and I'll be assisting with facilitating today's meeting. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments or get on our interested parties email list by emailing oha.measure110@oha.oregon.gov. That email address and more information about the council can be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. OAC members have asked that OHA and other staff who are present in the meeting space introduce themselves in the chat. Please share your role with the agency, and if you are a subject matter expert, your area of expertise. Today, we do not have a captioner, so we'll be turning on the Zoom caption just for awareness. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to the tri-chairs, I believe Dharma, for opening remarks.
Hi, folks. Welcome to our weekly meeting. There's not a lot going on this week. We just have an introduction. I'm very excited to have us introduce our new Measure 110 director, and just go over some updates on the RFGA process. But I'll pass off to Carly for attendance.
Yes, thank you, Dharma. Me. Sorry. Hi, everyone. If my camera freezes, I'm going to turn it off because I'm having some weird connection issues all of a sudden. Okay, Amy, are you here? No. Carlos? Caroline?
Here.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi.
Dharma?
Here.
Hubert. Check on that later. Hunter?
Here.
Hi, Hunter. Jackie. Okay. Jonathan let us know that he was going to be absent today. Keisha?
Here.
Hi, Keisha. Leticia, don't think she's here yet. She did let me know she's going to be about 20 minutes late. Linda. Oh. Melinda.
Here.
Hi, Melinda.
Hello.
Meredith. Morgan. Nicole.
I'm here.
Hi, Nicole. Onisha. I think I saw her. Ron. Ryan.
Here.
Hi, Ryan. Sabrina. Zeb.
I'm here.
Hi, Zeb.
Hi.
Sam. And Annalise.
Here.
Hi. Okay, I will pass it back to Dharma.
I'm just going to pass it right over to our new Measure 110 director to introduce herself, Abby Stamp.
Thanks, Dharma. Hi, everybody. I put in the chat, I'm Abby Stamp. My pronouns are she and her, and I've been the executive director of Measure 110 for 7 days. It's fantastic to be here. And I have spent about 30 years in social services, criminal justice, behavioral health. My background is both in criminal justice policy and clinical social work, and I worked for Multnomah County for 20 years. I live and reside in Washington County, and I'm just tickled to be here. And in full transparency, I want to also share that I have existing relationships with Keisha, hi Keisha, and with Morgan Godvin, who was a member.
Hey.
Hi, Keisha, who was a member of the council I directed up until last month. So I think what I would like to do, and what I want to do is share just a minute about why I decided to take this job and why I think this work is important just to me as a human in this world. I just super transparently, I worked in criminal justice policy for a couple of decades, and really started out my career being a family therapist and working with young people and their families who were on probation. And so I've always had a real criminal justice nexus in my work. And I believe in recent years, watching innovation and an approach to substance use disorder become more and more penalized and much more in the lap of the criminal justice system has been incredibly disheartening to me. And I think that is the wrong way to go. And so I made a deliberate decision that I wanted to get out of criminal justice and back into behavioral health. I've got another 15 years left in me to give back to the community, well, at least in terms of, like a day-to-day job. And it was really important for me to live and really feel my ethics and values and to really work hard to do right by my community as an Oregonian, and contribute my time and my passion to helping bolster behavioral health resources for folks who really need it. I also had the responsibility of representing Multnomah County when the mayor of Portland and the Multnomah County chair and Tina Kotek, Governor Kotek, did the tri-government fentanyl emergency declaration earlier this year. And I served as the lead for Multnomah County. And I was absolutely floored about the challenges that the substance use disorder service and provider continuum continues to face in light of ever-changing substances on the street and watching folks continue to suffer. And it just over and over again, I was really absolutely deliberately decided that it was time to change direction in my career and kind of come home back into the behavioral health world. And I'm really excited to be doing that. So I've spent the last 7 days learning a lot of things. Working for a large state government is really different than even working for the county or even nonprofits, as I did earlier in my career. And one of the things that's been really important to me is first to listen. And I've been doing that with the folks who are serving our state on the Measure 110 team, and my colleagues through OHA, and you all are really critical, valued partners. And I absolutely hope to be able to meet with all of you one-on-one to hear about your experiences, your wants, what's been working well for you in the OAC, things that have been challenging, so that I can better understand your experience and your context and your history as we all continue to work together to make Oregonians happy, healthy, with all of the services and support they need to thrive. So that's just in a nutshell a bit about why I chose to come join this crew. And I would love to entertain any questions or comments you have while we've got the time today to do so.
I'd just like to say welcome aboard. It's great to have you. Looking forward to meeting with you more. Thank you.
I'm wondering if council members might feel comfortable just even introducing yourselves. I know our names are on there, but just having Abby have a sense of even county that you're at or anything you want to share. It can be just, here's my name, hi, but also want to open up that opportunity as well.
I just wanted to ask too, for everyone's clarity too, you're taking over the position that Sam was filling in for, and so we're able to communicate with you one-on-one without like activating a public meeting law and stuff because you're staff for OHA then, yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And many thanks to Sam for her years of service.
And as we talked about previously, I will still be here to when there's quorum needed, but supporting Abby and all of you in just seeing the RFGA through the finish line, the scoring and all of that, just to provide continuity to that. But I'm super excited that you have an executive director because I know there's been a lot of recent turnover and just offering some stability, and somebody so motivated to be with you all in partnership is very exciting.
So this is Caroline Cruz. So Abby, I am the Health and Human Services General Manager with Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. And so welcome on board. I guess it just gets for me with so much turnover. I'm just hoping someone will stay because I think we really need a strong advocate, you know, for Measure 110. And when we have so much turnover in staff, I think it takes time for any new person in any new position to have, you know, a really good understanding. And so I wish you the best, and I just hope you stay for 15 years. Welcome. Go ahead, Zeb. I'll just name the next person. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
All right. So yeah, my name is Zeb Payne. I'm a Siletz tribal member. I'm also clinical director for Phoenix Wellness Center, which is a culturally specific and linguistically specific program in the Lincoln County area, Newport. And so welcome aboard. And the next person is Annalise.
Thanks, Deb. Hi, Abby. Annalise Dolph. I'm the director of the Alcohol and Drug Policy Commission. So I serve as a non-voting member of the Oversight and Accountability Council. But I have had lots of history with Measure 110. And get to be a little bit of a connector. I co-chair the Opioid Settlement Board, which Zeb sits on, as our connection to the OAC. Caroline is one of my commissioners. And I think I have a couple members who sit on ADBC committees. So have lots of thoughts and ideas about how we can start to collaborate more closely across all these commissions and funding streams. And I'll pop it to Hunter.
Hey, I'm Hunter Nelms. Of course, I'm on the council, but I'm also founding board member, peer supervisor at a Measure 110 startup, which is the Restored Connections Peer Center here in Eugene. I'm a CADC2, CRM2, person in long-term recovery, formerly incarcerated, all the things, and I'm glad you're here. I will pass it to Melinda.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Abby again. I'm Melinda Bell. I'm currently a housing navigator for New Narrative. I am in charge of housing the homeless that have justice-involved backgrounds. I am also a part of this Measure 110 committee, and I also sit on the Racial and Injustice Council for Governor Kotek. Thank you. And I will pass it to Ryan.
Hello, I'm Ryan Bear. I'm a clinical social worker as well. I'm vice president of behavioral services at All Care Health in Southern Oregon. Who hasn't gone yet? Are you hiding if you haven't? Just feel free to light up.
I haven't went yet. So, I know Abby. My name is Lakeisha Dumas, and I'm one of the council members for the OAC. And I'm excited to see you up there. I love the work we have done previously. I think you're an amazing advocate, and I think it'll be the change we might well need on this council. So thank you. Thank you for being here. You do awesome work, and I'm going to enjoy working with you again.
Sabrina, I see your hands up.
Thank you. My name is Sabrina Garcia, and I am an enrolled Klamath tribal member from Klamath Falls. I've been on the council since it started. I am a person in long-term recovery. I received a lot of services in my community, and so I'm just trying to help identify some gaps. I'm a peer department manager for a drug and alcohol treatment center, as well as a harm reductionist. And welcome to the team.
I'll just jump in to keep the momentum going. I'm Dharma Mirza. I am a tri-chair and a council member since the start of Measure 110. I'm a PhD student at Oregon State University. My focus is on drug policy and drug user sex worker liberation. I also serve on the Benton County Mental Health Addiction and Developmental Disability Advisory Council and the Oregon Department of Education's Recovery Schools Advisory Council. I work closely with the Association of Recovery in Higher Education and the Association of Recovery Schools. And I also am the president and grant and health program coordinator for the Mid-Willamette Trans Support Network. When I focus on health equity work, especially with gender diverse populations and queer and trans people of color. I'm a trans woman of color in long-term recovery. And I'm also a person who uses drugs in recovery. So yeah, really excited to be here. And I'm going to pass it to Nicole. I think they're the only one that hasn't gone.
Hi, thank you. Welcome. My name is Nicole. I am a Measure 110 member. I've been here since the council has started. I too am a person in recovery. I have a lot of lived experience. Also utilized a lot of resources when I was actively using substances. I currently am a medical social worker at OHSU. My service is general medicine. A lot of folks experienced in helplessness and substance use disorder. Infection and disease is my specialty. And I'm so happy you're here. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I look forward to meeting the rest of I think that's everybody before I jump in. Yes, I believe it is. And I look forward to meeting the rest of the folks who couldn't make it today and just continuing these conversations. And thanks to Carly for putting my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to introduce yourselves and say hi. I'm trying not to be super excited, you know, at a public meeting, but I'm really glad you're here, Abby, of course. Unless there's any specific questions for Abby that you'd like to have, we did want to share just a very brief update on where we are with the RFGA. We thought that would be helpful just to make sure that you're informed as we are in as real a time as we can possibly provide. Thanks, Carly, for the slides. And I think next slide. There's Abby. Okay, so just in terms of the RFGA, and we're happy to talk through what we can today, but wanted to let the council know that, you know, the 4th is when, at 3 p.m. is when Oregon buys closed for the applications. We received 252 complete applications. We currently have 34 reviewers identified to begin to score the applications. We did training for reviewers. Those are all complete. And we're just finishing up getting any of the conflict of interest forms that we need before we can assign applications. And I see them coming in. So for all of you who submitted yours already, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Next slide. So we also completed, in order to get those 252 it's approximately 300 applications received, right? So 252 complete with some that are still in the minimum submission review process. Just to finish that out, we are designing the matrix on, just assigning the applications right now. We have not yet, but are about to schedule the reviewer panel meetings and then also the council meetings for the funding vote. And before we leave this slide, we did get some information from DOJ that the review panel meetings will be where the reviewers, the folks who scored, come together to make funding recommendations. Those will be public meetings, and as a result, it will require quorum. So about 17 people will need to be at a review panel meeting. So absolutely the folks that scored applications related to the county that's being reviewed, but then additional folks to make sure we meet quorum. So just wanted to note that. And then next slide, and then we can open it up for discussion. I think that the piece that I wanted council members to know and to be most transparent about is we have the application, so upward of 300. The total requested funds is that 852,575,000 and change. The total available funds for the council to award are 427,305,000. And so we are at a $425,270,000 overage or deficit, however you want to describe it, difference between the funds requested and the funds we have available. They're in flux a little bit as we finalize some of the applications that needed a second look for the minimum qualifications. And I think Abby and I are sort of thinking about how negotiations might happen. Last time I looked, there were a couple of very small counties that seem to not be over, but in general, I think overall, Abby and I, when we are thinking about negotiation, is really thinking across all the applicants. So more to come on that, but just wanted to make sure that the council had that information up front. And Abby, I know we've been working together and separately on this process. So anything that you want to add or any reflections on the work you've been doing, please jump in.
Yeah, sure. It was fairly interesting timing to start this job right in the middle of this incredibly fast and just large application process for the entire state. So I would share that there's a few things that are really important. One is just making sure that all of the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. For the office that is not the Oregon Health Authority that receives all of the applications, and making sure that all of the reviewers have all of the forms completed and are able to start reviewing applications and making sure that timing is right. Since we're still wanting to make sure that the second value is real equity, and just making sure, because there were some technical glitches with Oregon buys the day these applications were due, that every applicant has a fair shot of completing the full application and has an opportunity to have their application for services reviewed. So I have been in constant communication with the folks who are running that process in the background and with the Measure 110 team to really make sure that we keep the pressure up and get these applications accurately and ethically and legally given to all of the reviewers to make sure they're reviewed in a timely manner so that we can have you all as the OAC make those funding decisions. So we just know it's kind of like Fred Flintstone. We're just kind of cruising along, but underneath our feet are going crazy, just running hard to make sure that this is done right and done well. And like anything that represents almost, requests of $1 billion, there are lots and lots of considerations to make sure it's done right and that it's done well. And I would just reiterate that if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, additionally, feel free to reach out to me through email or phone number.
And I think that is all for our slides. So I just want to open it up for discussion if there is any, or if you are like, I think I just want to sit and process all of that. And of course, you have Abby to talk to directly. But yeah, I just want to pause there.
I'll hop in with a quick question. Sam, I know, I can't remember now, it was when you presented here to the ADPC, that there were a handful of counties that didn't have completed applications at all for any services. Has that hole been closed, or are you guys still working with them?
So that's a great question. We are just still working on it. Some of it is just around the minimum score, the minimum requirements, making sure the applications were complete. And this is the piece that, Abby was talking about, just making sure everything is done really well and fair. On the 4th, Oregon buys had some problems. So people were sending in like screenshots of Oregon buys, not letting them upload. And so we just want to make sure that all of that is taken care of, and suspect that potentially with that will take care of the like any county that would be missing a significant burn makeup or anything like that. So more to come, but that's why we're a little slower, just because we had that glitch and want to make sure that we didn't miss anybody.
Hi, yeah, I was just trying to check in and see about timeline on reappointment and how that might be affected with any more holdups on this process. Like how would rechanging the structure of the OAC potentially, like our membership changing over, affect this RFGA? Would folks who are maybe exiting their terms be able to would they maintain their voting status if we'd already started voting? Are we going to wait to start voting until after that changeover, or do you have any more information about the reappointments? I guess my last update on it, I thought, was that it was going to be done by the end of October, which would be next week.
You're right, Dharma. That was the plan, and we are running late, but the intention to have that all taken care of here in the next month or so has not changed. And that's our fault, or my fault right now. Apologies on that, as the RFGA took off. So we will have we can update on that information, I think, in the next week too. Just in terms of a timeline for the RFGA, we still have the goal that in March we would be sending out the notice of awards. So still pushing on the timeline, even as we are needing to just slow down for a second and double check a couple applications, but that is still the intention. So this council will definitely be making decisions. And Jackie, I see that you joined us, and today we were introducing Abby Stamp, who's your and our new Measure 110 Executive Director. So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself to Abby.
I'm pretty sure she knows me. I saw her try to jump off the call. I'm kidding.
Hi, Jackie. It's nice to see you.
Hey, Abby. Nice to see you. Welcome to your new job. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And Leticia, I saw that you also joined, and I don't know if you want to say hi, but just an introduction to Abby.
I would love to. Hi, Abby. Sorry I was late. I had another commitment. My name is Leticia Welch. I live in Southern Oregon and I work at Addictions Recovery Center, and I've been on the council since I think it started since March of 2020. So thank you and welcome.
Thanks, Leticia. Nice to meet you.
Just want to open it for any other comments or questions, Carolyn?
So being around when we first went through this process and it was total chaos, now we're looking at requests in the 800 million when there's only 400 million. And so then we took a lot of time to try to resolve that. So do we have anything concrete in terms of how we're going to go through this process? Are we going to go back to giving a minimum amount to every county and a base amount for the smaller ones? And I mean, I'm just kind of concerned. I mean, I don't know if there was a comparison in terms of brand new applications versus renewing from the previous agreement. I'm just kind of like, it's always overwhelming when we see double the amount and we have to whittle it down to what we currently have. So I guess I asked too many questions, but what's the plan?
I think that's a great question, Carolyn. And so, the first thing is that all the applications will get scored. We haven't seen the full completed list yet. We do want to do an analysis to understand just how many new applications there might be or agencies we haven't seen. And then I think, and Abby, just please correct me. I know you've been working as well with Ebony and the team, but I think that now that we're seeing the actual total, that is where we are trying to think about how we're going to go about basically negotiating what is almost double the fund request versus what we have. So all of those questions are valid, Carolyn, and hopefully reducing the chaos. In terms of the scoring, we have that much more streamlined, but I think it's more to come on what we do as we think about it internally and then present it to the council for some guidance and options and preferences. Melinda, I see your question. I think if any conversation around the pending litigation would be an executive session with DOJ, which the council, of course, can request. And if there were specific questions that any member had that you want to make sure in an executive session is covered, we can absolutely do that too. Keisha?
That was around my question too, if we could talk about what was going on. Okay.
Well, I think we should probably have an executive session so everybody can know what's going on.
Agreed.
I received a bunch of paperwork the other day. It's pretty thick.
Yeah. Allison, is there just asking in terms of process, which is a little new for me. I know that the executive session would be the way to have that conversation for more details. How do we go about scheduling it? Typically in the past, I guess is the question.
Yeah, sure. So executive session can be used to talk about pending litigation, discuss any legal questions about it. So I think what would be helpful is for us to get an idea of what the nature of the questions are, and then we can determine the most appropriate way to do that, which is either scheduling executive session or finding a different time to go over things that maybe are not part of executive session. So I guess if there are specific questions that people want to go over, perhaps those could be emailed in, and then we can go from there.
So we could use, though, if council members submitted like questions to Abby or myself, that we could then have an executive session at the next scheduled OAC meeting, essentially, right? So where everybody has that time on their calendar. Keisha?
So I'm wondering if asking, will it hold up the process? Is that an executive question too?
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Keisha.
Asking if it will hold up the funding process, is that an executive question too?
As far as I know, I think thus far we're not seeing anything being delayed, but that's all I know for today, at least. So our process continues to move forward, and your process around the voting will continue to move forward unless we hear otherwise.
Thank you.
Abby, any final thoughts or words for the day, at least for today?
For today, I think it's all about making sure get outside and enjoy the crisp autumn air. That's my goal before the end of the day today. And I was just looking at the calendar about when our next meeting is and when to have that executive session, and that is Wednesday, November 13th. And I want to encourage folks to reach out if you've got burning stuff you want to chat about. Reach out to me directly, and we can figure out ways to get your questions answered so you don't need to wait that long. No, otherwise we're leaning in hard into this RFGA process and making sure that we're moving forward. And I do want to make sure and say out loud that I heard at least a couple of voices really curious about and craving some, I'm going to use these words lightly, guidelines, parameters, process, so that it's not here OAC, here's, multiple hundreds of millions of dollars, and you got to cut this in half. Good luck. Let us know how it goes. But without also be, in any shape or form micromanaging about the way that goes. And I recall listening to, I have been doing my research. I watched the meeting from October 9th, where there was a conversation about starting with, the formula as a guideline, if there's some place to start with that. So I will think about that and see if there's something I can do, at least in terms of offering up some direction or some ideas to vet with you all, to see if that feels like that's a supportive intervention rather than, can't make anybody do anything. Some days I can't make the dog sit, but just seeing about what I can do to help support that so that the decision-making process and the voting feels really transparent, and that it's supported. So anyway, that's just sort of where my brain is for today. And I'm really happy to be here. It's really good to meet you all after all this time. So thank you for that.
I was just wondering, looking ahead at the calendar, since there's going to be holiday time coming up, and potential conflicts with meeting stuff, do we have a mapping of like what future meetings are going to look like? Do we need to vote on any holiday, like move this date over kinds of things now instead of 2 weeks from the event?
Oh, go ahead, Sam. No? Okay. I know that Carly has been thinking about the calendar through the end of the calendar year, and that this meeting falls on some federal holidays on some of those. And so there's ultimately some cancellations. Carly, I'm terribly sorry to call on you out of the blue, but I'm going to. Did you, because I haven't fully read the email you sent me. I just
No worries.
everyone, what
We'll talk about
did
that
you want
later.
to flag for the calendar for this group?
So I was looking at the holidays, and Christmas and New Year do not fall on a regularly scheduled meeting week. Actually, obviously Thanksgiving doesn't either, but I would suggest possibly canceling the day before Thanksgiving, the 27th. Just historically, we've had trouble keeping and maintaining quorum that day. But the other days, I don't see a problem keeping where they are.
And I also think the one thing that we will likely come to all of you with is as we are completing the applications and the review panel, and we have our path forward around getting each county in front of the council for vote, thinking about what that pace will look like in order to meet the deadline so that there's no interruption in funding and people have their contract signed and they're ready to go July 1. So that is more to come, and that is the kind of mapping. And I think what you also you're asking, Dharma, like, do we know like what the review panel dates as well as how that will overlap with the council. And there's some thinking that some of that will all happen at the same time, right? The council will be potentially approving and or voting as reviews are still happening. So I think that will be our next big piece of information that we want to work through and put in front of council members. Keisha?
I got a quick question. If when we're voting on counties as a whole, if we have a conflict with one entity in the county, are we excluded from voting on the county as a whole?
That's a really good question. Allison, any thoughts on that?
So I think as we're developing the process, we'll take down that question and do some follow-up.
Thank you.
I just want to bring to attention the equity in that, because most of the African Americans are all in one county and also have a conflict. So it would kind of, yeah. So just taking that into account.
And I'm just making sure I heard you correctly too, Sam. We'll be voting on things without knowing what funding we're doing to other counties. Is that right? Like, so there'll be potential that we're still approving counties and not sure what the total distribution of funds are going to be while voting to approve funds for certain counties.
I think that at least the way we're looking at it now, there is some conversation and resolution that probably needs to happen, given that the request is double the amount that we have, right? I mean, just something needs to happen there. So that is the piece that we're figuring out, and that will align how all the other dates happen. We did build in a cushion. I want to say that cautiously, knowing that that there would be things that would come up, and we wanted to make sure that we could support you being successful in the timeline to get the funds out. But more to come on that piece. And Abby, I don't know if you had any further discussions with Ebony or anybody yet.
No, not
we
yet.
haven't together. Yeah.
I just have big concerns about the position it puts us in to have to make funding decisions without knowing where the rest of the funding is going. Because I think I'd want to see what the allocations were going to be for all of the counties before we make a decision on any of the counties. I know that's probably not feasible with the timeline, but it seems the most feasible for matters of equity and for like making the most practical decision. I just wanted to voice that.
I appreciate that, and I hear that. I think that originally, our thinking was that we would actually be quite linear in some ways in the process, that we would score everything, then the review panels would happen, and then it would just be, the council coming together as often as is, feasible for the full council to vote. I don't think that's off the table. I just think as we're discovering something that we did not expect to this degree, there's just more to think about there. But I absolutely understand what you're saying.
Can you see Keisha's hand again?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Keisha, if you you're up again if you'd like, or if your hand was just
No,
still
I didn't
last time.
lower it. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you all being here. I'm so excited that you have an amazing executive director, and I look forward to being supportive and just being here to meet quorum and support Abby in any way possible and the council to move the work through. So more to come unless there's any other pressing items.
That's it. Thanks so much, folks.